Hello and welcome to BD Living's Standard Site Measures DVD. Throughout this film, we'll be giving you a step-by-step guide to measuring and completing the call-off sheet for our furniture products. BD Living are the Barratt Group's premier supplier of fitted furniture, and our portfolio includes a varied product range, including traditional wardrobes, sliding door wardrobes, walk-in wardrobes, studies and media units. Last year alone, we completed 9,000 installations throughout the UK, and with over 400 live developments, it would be impossible for our staff to visit each and every property, and so we rely on you, the site agents, to take the measurements, report back to us and submit a call-off sheet. It really is that simple, and hopefully this step-by-step guide will demonstrate not only how easy it is, but the correct ways to measure and report back to ensure that we both achieve a seamless and successful installation. To start the process, simply fax or email the call-off sheet and site measure sheet to the BD Living Bedroom Furniture's coordinators. We cannot underestimate the importance of obtaining accurate measures on these sheets, and so we have put together this DVD to ensure we get it right first time. Each property is unique, so please do not take the measurements off plan. We hope you find this film informative and helpful. This is a standard recess, and the measurements we need here are width, which means from wall to wall, depth from the front edge to the back wall, and the height from floor to ceiling. So this is the measure for the width, and this is the measure for the depth, and next the measurement from floor to ceiling. And these are the 3 dimensions required for a standard recess. On the call-off sheet for the standard recess, you will need to fill out the width, the depth, and the ceiling height. In this instance, the roof pitch doesn't apply. For a standard fit, the colour will be white and the handle type will be C, but this may change depending on the customer's requirements. No side panel is required, and no freestanding furniture is required either. This is a site measurement for a wardrobe with a side panel. We have no recess or nib wall. The measurements we need here are the width, which means from the wall to the light switch, but this could also be the edge of a window or a door. The depth from the back wall to the plug socket, and the height, which is floor to ceiling. So first I'm going to take the width measurement. And this is the depth measurement. And finally, the height measurement, which is floor to ceiling. And they are the measurements required for a wardrobe with a side panel. On the call-off sheet for a wardrobe with a side panel, you will need to fill out the width, the depth, and please be aware we need a minimum of 600mm for a standard fit wardrobe, and the ceiling height. In this instance, the roof pitch doesn't apply. For a standard fit, the colour will be white and the handle type will be C, but this may change depending on the customer's requirements. A side panel is required, however, there is no freestanding furniture. Space for a right-hand angled wardrobe. There are 6 measurements that you'll need to write down on sheet 2 of the site measurement form, so it's a bit more complex than your simple fit. Listen carefully. The first one is the height of the low-level wall, the length of the angled ceiling, the roof truss angle, the width from wall to wall, the height from floor to ceiling, the length of the flat ceiling, and the depth from front of hatch to back wall. So the first measurement is the height of the low-level wall. This is measurement A. Measurement B is the length of the angled ceiling. Next, you'll need to jot down the roof truss angle, which is here, marked C on your sheet, and you can find that in the working drawings. Next is width from wall to wall. Next is height from floor to ceiling, which is E on your sheet. Measurement F is the length of the flat ceiling. The final measurement you'll need to make note of is for the depth, or G on your sheet, which is from front of hatch to back wall. Just make sure that if there is no hatch, you've got at least 600mm clear. And these are all the dimensions that you need for a right-hand angled wardrobe. When it comes to filling out sheet 2 of the site measure form for a right-hand angle wardrobe, A is the height of the low-level wall. B is the length of the angled ceiling. C is the roof truss angle. D is the width from wall to wall. E is the height from floor to ceiling. F is the length of the flat ceiling. And G is the depth. These measurements also apply to a left-hand angle, but please ensure you fill out the correct diagram for your particular wardrobe space. This space is for a wardrobe with a front to back slope, which means that the wardrobe fits in front of this slope. This one is to a side panel, but they can also fit into a recess. There are 6 measurements that you'll need to mark down on your sheet and an angle. The first measurement is the height of the low-level wall. The next is the length of the angled ceiling. Next is the roof truss angle. Next is the depth, which means from the back of the wall to where it meets the flat of the ceiling. Next is the height from floor to ceiling. And finally the width from the wall to the edge. The first measurement, which is A on your sheet, is the low-level wall. The next is B, the length of the angled ceiling. Next, take note of the roof truss angle, just here, which is marked C on your sheet, and you can actually find that angle on the working drawings. And then it's D for depth. This measurement is from the back wall to where it meets the flat of the ceiling. Next is the height from floor to ceiling, which will be marked E on your sheet. And finally, the overall width from the wall to the edge, which will be marked F on your sheet. And these are the dimensions required for a wardrobe with a front to back slope. When it comes to filling out sheet 2 of the site measure form for a wardrobe with a front to back slope, A is the height of the low-level wall. B is the length of the sloping ceiling. C is the roof truss angle. D is the depth, which is from the back wall to the start of the flat ceiling. E is the height from the floor to ceiling. F is the width from the wall to the edge. G wasn't required on this fit, but is needed if there's a nib wall. This is a bulkhead wardrobe, and I'm going to show you the 5 measurements you need to take to fit this style of unit. You'll need to measure the width from wall to wall, the length of the bulkhead, and the height of the bulkhead. You'll also need to measure the depth from the back wall to the front of the bulkhead and the height from floor to ceiling. The first measurement to make a note of is the width from wall to wall, and this corresponds with the letter A, which is on sheet 2 of the site measurement sheet. And the next is the length of the bulkhead, which is B. And C is the height of the bulkhead. Next is D for depth, which is from the back wall to the front of the bulkhead. And the final measurement needed is E, height from floor to ceiling. And they are the 5 dimensions needed for a bulkhead wardrobe. When it comes to filling out sheet 2 of the site measure form for a bulkhead wardrobe, A is the width from wall to wall, B is the length of the bulkhead, C is the height of the bulkhead, D is the depth from the back of the wall to the front of the bulkhead, and E is the height from floor to ceiling. This chapter of the film contains some important information about completing the relevant paperwork, so please listen carefully to what we're about to say. The most important thing to remember is do not take measurements from plan. Each room needs to be treated uniquely, so please take every measurement and report it back to us accurately. I'm now going to talk to you about what we call conflicts, which are certain features within the room which could cause an issue with an installation. As long as we are made aware of the conflicts, we can work around them. Our fitted furniture is very versatile, and provided we are supplied with the correct information at the offset, we can work around most features. Here are just a few examples of some of the conflicts that you may come across that we can still work around. Sockets and light switches. Shallow recess and door architrave. Boxing in. Windowsills and roof light windows. Radiators. Unusual recess. Inspection trap. We cannot underestimate how important it is for you to inform us of any potential conflicts. We would much prefer to know about any potential issues beforehand than get to site and then realise there is a problem. We hope this chapter has given you an insight into the type of features that could cause an issue, but rest assured, our experienced team can provide a solution. If you have any questions about potential conflicts, please don't hesitate to get in touch with the sales team. Thank you for taking the time to watch this film. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact the BD Living team on 01530 513 900.